Hello, I'm David. This is Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon.
And this is Creative Differences Indie House. Simon, hello. Welcome to the show. Right, so you are a medieval reenactor. You're a magician, and you have a company called Experts at the Craft Table, in which you are managing director, you are accountant, you are tea boy, you are everything in between. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean I'm self-employed technically, so it's a trading name for myself rather than a company. But yeah,
Like a sole
I
trader
do
sort of thing.
basically everything.
Awesome, awesome. So,
I did
of
actually
the
have on my CV once I can make a good cup of tea. So I suppose relevant in this.
no, listen, a good cup of tea, right, is everything in this world, honestly. So of the medieval reenactment, the magic, and experts at the craft table, which came first?
Um, so I've been a magician since I was 8. Used to
Wow.
watch the Paul Daniels magic show, and that got me into it.
Yeah. Did you have
Got my
the
first magic set
was
when I
it
was about 8.
was it the Paul Daniels magic set with the
It was, yeah.
with the raising wand, where you have the wand in the cup or in the bottle, and as you move the bottle away, the wand rises.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was there's like a box set with 100 tricks, and there's one that had a top hat in it that had a flap in it that was
Okay.
like it was really obviously not how a magic top hat actually works. And for an 8-year-old kid, it was brilliant. So
No, did it have like the
I had those
foam
two. I had one
bunny?
for my birthday and one at Christmas. I don't remember which was first. But,
What was it that made you want to do the magic?
um, pretty much just seeing Paul Daniels all the time on TV and just really enjoying watching it and wanting to have a go and do it myself. I wanted to be Paul Daniels,
Nice,
basically.
nice. Were you more into
Um,
like the sort of smaller tricks, like close up stuff, or did you like the big, uh, you know, um, the more fantastical?
I've always preferred the stage illusion stuff, at least from Paul Daniels anyway.
Hmm.
I mean, he's amazingly talented with all of the stuff he did, but he built those things himself with his son. And
Yeah, Martin. So who inspires you to keep going with the magic?
I sort of went in and out of doing magic over the course of my sort of teenage years because magic wasn't cool. And I was a bass guitarist in a band, and that was
Okay.
cool. So that's what got me girls.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, the magic sort of took a bit of a back seat during that time.
So how old were you when you got back
Um,
into it?
but then once I was in my 20s, I was kind of back doing a bit of magic, and my girlfriend at the time paid for me to go and do a course thing at Paul Daniels' house with him.
Oh, okay.
And that kind of properly got me back
Yeah.
into it.
Well, did you get any goodies, like
So
a
yeah,
little goodie
he's
bag?
entirely to blame for me being a magician. I don't get like starstruck normally. Like I've got mates that like play Wembley Arena and stuff. Like having
Right.
been in a band, like you get to know people. Well, it turns out they're actually in some massive band or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And after a while, it's just like, yeah, it's just normal people.
Yeah.
That's just their job. But
Hmm.
it was still like the most bizarre thing going to Paul Daniels' house and Debbie Mcgee answering the door and inviting me and asking if I wanted a cup of tea.
Oh,
Like, what's
bless.
going on?
So now that you're
Um,
doing magic, what branch of magic do you specialize in?
so I've kind of gradually moved away from magic and more into mentalism, and then in from there into bizarre magic,
Okay, what's bizarre magic?
which is so it's more sort of storytelling with magical happenings rather than the magic being the sole focus.
Okay, that's interesting.
Say you'd be presenting this like haunted doll that you've got. I mean, I was on somebody else's stream doing an interview. I had a haunted doll, and then things just started falling around,
Right.
falling down in the background and
Nice.
things like that. Rather,
Brilliant.
so with like magic, you'd probably, I guess, be like, oh, I've got like Jedi powers and make the thing fall down. But with bizarre magic, it's just these things are going on and they're incidental. People do seances as well, like the old Victorian style
Hmm.
seances, which at the time were kind of a form of entertainment
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. So that fall,
So
that
people
falls under
recreate those. I mean, that sort of under
that falls
bizarre
under bizarre
magic.
magic, does it? The seances, the Victorian style
Yeah.
seances. Okay, because when you said bizarre magic, I imagined like knife through the arm, the blood and gore stuff, but it's more like supernatural sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so it's more. It doesn't have to be supernatural. It just tends to be because it's easier to have
Okay,
excuses for things happening if there's some supernatural force. But
right.
it's more about sort of telling a story, really, and the magic is
So
part of the story rather than
the
you're
actual
presenting a magic trick.
right, awesome,
If that makes
cool.
sense.
So, what is your go-to trick? Without obviously, non-magicians will be watching this, so I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to no spoilers, no names. But can you sort of with that rule in place, can you say that what your go-to trick is?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm just like with some friends or something and feel like showing them something, I've got ESP cards in my wallet,
Right,
which I know what the cards are through magical, mysterious powers
right.
that I'm not going to disclose,
No,
but
I
I'll
understand.
know what their card is basically. And
Are these would these be ESP cards that you acquired via experts at the craft table, perhaps?
yeah, they're my own ESP cards. I mean, everything I make is like stuff that I want, and then it just happens that other people want it. So
How do you feel about the way magic is done these days under modern means, as opposed to the more traditional?
I mean, everyone's got their own performance style. I'm quite happy to watch someone doing a trick with their mobile phone.
Right,
I wouldn't do it myself. It doesn't really fit my style.
but
If
you're
that's what someone likes doing and they can present it well, then great, go for it.
awesome, cool. And is there any sort of brand of magic that you are just not keen on?
I'm kind of morally opposed to gospel magic.
Okay, what
I do
what?
have a friend who does it, and I occasionally talk to him about ideas he's got and stuff, but I wouldn't watch a person performing it out on the street, for example. I'd walk straight past
Can
them.
you sort of clarify what gospel magic is?
Yeah, it's preaching the Bible using magic to. It's very similar. The thing is very similar to bizarre magic because you're using the magic to tell a story, but you're telling stories from the Bible
Right.
and trying to use it to convert people or reinforce their beliefs. That's something that I'm quite morally opposed to. You've got to do it for the right audience. You don't do
Yeah,
that sort of thing for the general
and this is the
audience. But
thing
yeah,
with
I have friends that appreciate that kind of thing.
exactly the flip side of what you said is that there is a brand of magic for everyone. So you can walk away if
Yeah,
you're not interested, and it's not like you're saying to them, "Don't do that because I don't like it." Because a lot of people would. You're just saying it's
yeah.
not for me,
No, I mean,
so I'm just going to go somewhere else,
if
which is
if you're a Christian and you want to preach it and you want to use magic for that, I guess go for it. But
I'm gonna
it's the sort of preaching bit that I find morally problematic.
I I'm gonna
Um,
say I'm gonna say excuse the pun. Cards on the table. Um, I am a Christian, um, but I still have from what you've described, people using magic to preach the gospel. I take issue with that as a Christian. Again, if it if that's how you want to tell your stories, then fine. But one day, someone who's watching that may strengthen their faith, and then later on down the road, they realise how you did that trick. It's just going to knock them down. So I just think magic is for entertainment. That's my view. You know, magic is brilliant for entertainment. It's brilliant for
Yeah,
boosting people's
I would say about
confidence.
that though that very much comes down to the person performing it and their performance style. Like my friend who does it, you wouldn't walk away think about how it's done and then be disappointed because he's presenting it as stories.
Right. So
Um,
he's not pretending that he's working
he,
miracles.
yeah, he's not working miracles because that'd be pretty
Yeah,
sacrilegious to be
that's
honest.
okay. That's where I thought it was.
Um,
Yeah, okay. If it's just
but
telling
there
stories,
are there are branches of Christianity that are completely opposed to magic. So I mean, it's
there are branches of Christianity who are
different people have
opposed to modern
different
life.
beliefs, and fair enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Look,
Um,
at the end of the day, you know,
it's,
no one
um,
knows, so let's just get along. Um,
yeah,
cool. So,
my issue is literally just trying to get other people to believe your beliefs. That's what I don't like
I,
about it.
I'm like that with
Um,
vegans.
if you're performing it to people that already believe it, brilliant. That's great. Good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Um,
if someone's interested and they come to you because they want to know more, my
yeah,
view is they will have questions about the Bible and about the gospel that they would rather have a discussion about it than be shown a magic trick.
yeah.
But there you go. So um,
Yeah, I mean, someone coming to you is very different to standing out on the street and preaching about it.
yeah, yeah, and
That's them coming to you, not you going to them.
yeah,
That's the distinction, I think.
right, cool. After the magic, what came next?
Um, so next it was live action role play,
Cool.
which isn't medieval reenactment. It's like fantasy based kind of
Okay,
Dungeons and Dragons, but real life, I guess, would be
okay,
a
yeah, yeah,
way of
yeah, yeah.
explaining it
So
to a
instead of
layperson.
having a piece you move around the board, you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, so you got like a foam sword and you dress up as your character and like
Nice,
actually hit people with the sword and stuff.
nice. Now,
Um,
are
so
dice
I got into
involved?
that and sorry.
I was just are dice involved? Like when you're attacking someone, how do you decide if someone's taken enough damage to?
Well, I mean, you
Oh,
hit them
it's
with the
simple as
sword,
that. Okay, fair enough.
and they hope they hit you with their sword. It's actual combat, which
Right.
is fun.
Okay.
It's safe, but
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a good hobby. It's fun, but I've moved away from the area where I used to play it. And it's
Okay. So,
not so much of that to do around here.
oh,
But yeah, I got into that, and I was at university, so I was broke. Um, so needing stuff for it, I just made it.
okay.
And then when I made the stuff, people were like, "Oh, can you make one of them for me? I'll pay you." All
Nice.
right.
What was the first thing
Yep.
you made? Like for yourself?
I think
What?
it was a quiver to hold some arrows.
Okay. So your character's an archer.
Yeah. Yeah, I also made a bow as well. I used to sell quite a lot of bows to people because
Brilliant.
bows are generally expensive. And I was like, no, I can make them out of a bit of plastic pipe for like 30 quid.
Nice.
Actually, like I've still got one of those bows and it outshoots the bows that I've got that are like professionally made.
Awesome. Well, it's in a
It's
frame.
actually one of the best bows I've got.
So
Um,
that's you started making stuff for yourself, and then other people were like, you know, can you make something for me? At what point did you say, I'm going to turn this into a business?
so doing it as a business, basically, I when I finished uni, I moved up to Scotland and just decided I was going to work in retail because I wanted to do something that should be relatively stress-free. Um,
Retail,
got low
really?
outgoings, you know,
Yeah.
work retail, nice, easy job, talk to customers, stock shelves, that sort of thing.
But you get some angry
Then the
people in
pandemic
retail.
happened,
Okay.
and that suddenly stopped being stress-free and became working for basically minimum wage for a company that wouldn't even let me wear a mask at the beginning of it.
Really?
Yep.
But I mean, you weren't having people coming into the shop, were you? So were
Yeah,
you
yeah. People came in. Someone coughed in my face. I got COVID. Um,
right?
like right at the beginning when we didn't know what it would do to you and stuff, and
Yeah,
that then made me get quite ill, sort of mentally rather than. I mean, I got physically ill because of the
right.
situation I was in, and like I didn't know
Yeah,
if I was going to get long COVID. I didn't know if I'd infected people and potentially killed them because we had elderly customers.
right.
So that started making me feel quite unwell.
Yeah.
And then some person, I'll try and refrain from swearing on your channel, but
Thank you.
uh, a not very nice person came in, and when I was enforcing a policy to stop people bulk buying, he went off on one at me and started swearing and shouting at me, and so I was like, "Look, just get out." Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, then my supervisor at the time, who was stood next to me through the whole thing, just was ignoring it. And it was just like people that should have your back just
Yeah.
didn't, and that impacted on the mental health stuff as well. And
Right.
I ended up just having a complete breakdown anyway, wasn't able to work for a few months.
Right.
And after a while, obviously, if you can't keep working somewhere, they're going to get rid of you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
fair
Uh,
enough, I lost that job because I'd already been making things and selling them to mates and stuff. I kind of had an idea of what to do with making and selling things.
mhm.
So like, well, I can either go on disability benefits, which is not very much money,
Yeah.
or I could, um, order in a load of leather with the payment I'm getting for being fired and turn that into more money. So I did that.
Now, and can I just say, right? Okay, as a valued customer, right? I have here. I've got my pouch that you made, and I have inside. I have the magic wand. Right. I honestly, let me tell you something. For years, or since I got back into magic, my story is similar to yours. I was in and out of magic. I wanted a magic. I wanted a dark red magic wand with brass tips. Couldn't find the one anywhere. I had to make do with a TCC light brown with silver tips, and I bought the Wandcraft book. And in there's loads of different ones. And I actually contacted some groups on Facebook saying, "Look, I want to make a magic wand. What can I use as tips?" And they suggested shell casings, like bullet casings, and it's brilliant, but it wasn't quite going to do what I wanted it to do. And then 18 months later, you come along, right, with this, and I was just like, I need to get that wand. I need that wand. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. So the experts at the
Um,
craft.
so yeah, I mean, in 2020, like while I was ill, I was spending a lot of time on Magic Discord because that's kind of where all the magicians went, was onto the Discord servers,
Uh-huh.
and that's kind of where I ended up doing experts at the craft table as a magic thing rather than a medieval thing
I
because
was
I was
going to
making
ask.
myself
Yeah, I was.
stuff out of leather and posting it, and people are like, "Oh, I want one of them."
Uh,
Like, well, I can't at the moment because I'm not allowed to work. Um,
I was going to ask where the crossover was, whether the company started with the medieval thing and then went into magic, or whether it was magic then into medieval, because the magic stuff you have on there is medieval influenced. The cards that you have, the old medieval style playing cards, and the tarot cards and things like
yeah.
that. Tell us about that.
So,
Why did you decide to focus on the medieval and not do your own sort of original modern day sort of interpretations?
uh, so being a medieval reenactor, you've got to have things that are at least passably historically accurate. Those playing cards aren't, but I needed the artwork for them to make some that were.
Right.
Um, but also, like I like just having stuff to do magic. Once the public have gone home, I'd like to be able to
Uh huh.
do stuff for my friends and stuff. With the historical stuff, there's stories behind the decks as well. You can talk about like the museum it's in, talk not just about the magic, but there's other things that might interest people as well. Particularly if they're, I mean, you'd be using them in a scenario where people are interested in history anyway,
Yeah.
because otherwise they wouldn't be there. So being able to say, yeah, these are in the Metropolitan Museum in America.
Uh huh.
They're based on one of the earliest sets of playing cards that we have a full set of.
Right.
This is the Cloisters deck.
So, of all the stuff that you create, which is your favourite thing? When someone says, "Can you make me one of them?" You're like, "Yes." Is there anything?
Yeah, see, I really like making custom stuff, and I probably charge less than I should for it.
Yes, yes, you do.
Um,
I can say that you definitely. I mean, this is lovely. I love this. You definitely. I mean, I was surprised. I was like, okay, yep, I'll have one of them.
no, your one was just like, well, I mean, I could make it like that. That's what we've agreed on. But then, like, I've got this bit of leather that would make a good belt loop, so I'm just gonna put that on
I love it. Honestly, I haven't
it.
worn it
Just
yet, but when I pluck up the courage, I've got my cups and balls here as well. When I pluck up the courage to actually go out in public and perform, cups and balls, I will definitely be taking it, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it goes. Now, if you'll excuse
yeah,
the
please do.
language, I've lost my balls all over the all over the desk.
There is
Never mind.
there is an open mic magic thing on Zoom every Wednesday.
Okay,
So I'll get you a link for that. There's a Facebook group for it.
cool.
If you wanted to just get performing in front of some people,
I really
there's
need
a
the
place
reason
to.
I've got them on my desk is because every day I do 10 minutes, 15 minutes just practicing the moves. Because doing the moves on your own, is one thing. Doing the moves in front of someone is completely different. So I do need to sort of get my head around being comfortable doing the moves on my own before I start.
Are you talking about stuff while you're doing the moves as well? Because that adds an extra layer of difficulty.
Yeah, I've
Um,
created. When you say talk about, I don't talk out loud while I'm doing them, but I sort of I talk about it.
yeah,
My lips are going, and my voice is in my head. I also need to brush up on how much I do because at the moment the only two things that I do on there are the two traditional tricks. I'm working on my
yeah.
own original thing with paper cups, which I'm looking forward to showing to the Facebook group. But it's just it's finding the time to sit down and dedicate just do that one thing. Is there any product that you create that you wish that you'd never offered?
No, I don't think so. I mean, um, so the wallets that I've got on my site are a bit of a pain to make, but I charge appropriately for them. So
That's fair enough. And
it's
the
going to
thing
take me a
is,
few hours to make. I charge a few hours labor to make them.
that's fair
They don't
enough.
sell very much because of it, but
You've got to value your time, haven't you? When people look at a product, they don't always consider the fact that someone had to make that. Someone had to spend like a day making that. You're not just paying for the materials; you're paying for their time and their expertise and everything that comes. This is the artist argument, where artists are expected
yeah,
to work for exposure and for the pleasure of
yeah.
working, whereas a plumber gets paid ridiculous amounts of money for putting a tap on the sink. I'm not knocking plumbers. I'm just saying artists and creatives
This is
should be valued as
um,
well.
this is sort of contrasting it with like that pouch that I made for you. Like if I'm doing a load of work because I want to do a load of work, I won't charge so much for it.
Oh bless you.
But if it's just like something that I make as a stock item,
Yeah.
and I might have plans for the next couple of days, but they have to be stopped because I've got to make this wallet.
I think
I'm going to charge the going rate for my time for.
I think you should charge the going rate for your time, full stop. Because honestly, I'm not just saying this. This thing, right? I'll show it to. This is what sort of leather was this?
That one is
Snow
what is that? It's buffalo skin.
buffalo skin. This
The
is
main part of it.
it's absolutely beautiful.
I
It
can't
really
remember what the
is.
loop is.
Yeah, there's the loop, and it's got the
Is the loop the
drawstring.
same leather? I can't really see it from.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
no, I don't think it's quite. It looks the same, but I think it's not as soft. But the thing is, this is I would have easily charged paid more than you charged me for this, simply because it is a lovely piece of kit. That's my close. That's nothing to do with you. That's just a close up pad. This is your wand. I just think that what you should do is you should, for everything you make, whether you're making it because you want to make it or whether you're making it because someone has specifically ordered it, you should have a minimum fee, and you should say, how much do I want to earn per hour? Have that much plus, so say you're willing to earn 20 quid an hour. So that's your basic thing. And then add on to that the cost of the materials and everything else with a little bit of profit on top. And I think,
Yeah, I mean the thing is my base rate is about 60 quid an hour, and that would have made a basic pouch fairly unaffordable.
that's fair enough. But as I say, I mean, that pouch is, I genuinely, and the thing is, I just want to tell everyone, if you want one of these pouches, if you're a magician and you want, I got this for the cups and balls. It's not actually on the magic side, is it? It's on the medieval side. Have you moved it now?
That particular pouch isn't even on the website.
Oh,
That's
isn't
a
I got an
medieval
original.
busking pouch.
I got an
I'm not
expert.
sure what I did with mine, but they had like a hoop in the top where you've got the drawstring on yours.
Yeah. Oh,
Which will
so
keep
it's a
the
solid
top
hoop.
open.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what my one's like, but I don't know where I put it because I haven't been out using it for a long time.
I think you need to add this sort of pouch to the magic side for cups and balls, because it is brilliant. Would you like me to put my cups inside so people can see what it looks like with the cups inside? I will do that for you. I will do that for everyone. I'll take the close-up pad out, take the wand out. People are going, oh, come on. Right, there's the cups and balls, there's the cups. Look at that. Look at that. Magic wand goes in. In fact, the cups aren't even stacked. There we go. Cups are stacked. Magic wand goes in. Can I get the close-up pad in as well?
You've probably got some room for putting money in it afterwards if you've got
Probably.
as well.
There you go. Close-up pad as well. It's... Yeah. Can you see in there? Look at that.
Loads of room.
Loads. There you go. A bit of
Like a
advertising that you wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, if I was making that as a stock item, I'd charge more, but it was just like, well, I've made the basic pouch, and that's at the basic pouch rate, and then it's just like, well, yeah, but then nicer leather, closer together stitching, might as well make it nicer, because I just was doing it while I was watching telly.
That's how good you are. I wasn't even concentrating. There you go, Dave. That'll do. It's beautiful. I love it.
Busy at the time.
Yeah.
So when I do stuff like extra bits and pieces, because I'm not busy, I'm watching telly, I can spend a bit longer on it. It's going to be a nicer product. I'm not going to charge you more because you probably wouldn't pay it if you were.
Well, bless you. Bless
If
you.
I was charging my going rate for the amount of time I spent on it, you wouldn't want to buy it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All I can say is I was genuinely pleasantly surprised at the price, and I was expecting more. To pay more. No, I was expecting more.
Also, I love cups and balls. Like, You can probably tell from like the magic ones. Like I really like the cups and balls. So
Yeah, yeah,
more
you're
people having good cups and balls stuff is a good thing.
absolutely, absolutely. Do you I mean, the caps and balls being like the arguably believed to be the oldest magic trick on the planet. Do you go along with that,
I
or
think it's the second oldest, but
okay? What's the oldest?
well, she's probably not even the second oldest. The earliest actual reference we've got to it, I think, is Roman.
Okay, because some people
Um,
believe that there's hieroglyphics in dating back to ancient Egypt, but they say
yeah,
they may
those.
be making pots, or they may be doing some baking bread. They're not so it's all about context, you know.
I think yeah, with the context of it, because I think Penn and Teller went to go and have a look at them, and they're like, yeah, this is definitely not cups and balls.
I agree with them. I have to say,
Because the context was like baking or something,
right.
and
Because I
then it
mean,
showed those
it's basically
hieroglyphics.
two people sitting on the floor opposite each other, and they've each got like a thing in front of them. So it could literally be anything, really. But it definitely dates back to ancient
Yeah,
Rome.
yeah, at least to ancient Rome. Biting the head off a bird dates back to ancient Egypt.
Okay.
So
Oh, with
that's
the pigeon
all.
trick, where you pull the head off the pigeon.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, I see. Okay. I went
yeah. So
into
either biting its head off or pulling its head off. So sort of Ozzy Osbourne style,
that's
like sticking your
where
mouth
my
and
head went when you said.
spit out feathers.
Yeah. Okay, because the other thing is, and some magicians argue it's not magic, but I think it's within the realms of magic, is ventriloquism. And that, I mean, soothsayers and things,
Yeah, I
they
guess
used
that's
to, that dates back to like,
yeah. If you, it depends how you're presenting it. I mean, if you're doing it with a ventriloquist puppet, then I wouldn't say it's magic. But
but
having a conversation with someone who's not there and presenting it as something otherworldly and supernatural.
yeah, and the ancient like soothsayers and high priests and things used to be channeling the gods, and they'd be speaking to a rock, and the rock would be speaking back to them. They were just ventriloquizing. I don't know if that's a word. It is now. They were ventriloquizing, but everyone believed that was the voice of the gods. That sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of arguments out there to be made. But I didn't realise that cups and balls only went as far back as right. I thought it would have gone further back than that.
Yeah, no, I think that's the earliest recorded evidence we have that's definitely cups and balls.
Cool. I mean, it's
There's
fascinating that they can say with
I think there's mentions of coin tricks in the Bible. I think
okay.
there's some stuff in there. So
Wow,
uh,
I
I
think it's
would need to.
fascinating. I think someone should write a book about the oldest tricks that we actually have evidence of. Like as you say, cups and balls, we have evidence it goes back to ancient Rome. That would be a good book to
I
have.
might do that because I've had to research this stuff because of being a reenactor. Like everything's got to be
Yeah,
stuff that was around at the time.
right, mate.
So I've had to be able to evidence like linking rings, for example. There's a reference to it in 15th century Spain,
Wow. Okay.
um,
Okay. That's cool.
not
You
China.
this is
So
this is the yeah. I associate that with China myself. I actually have a set of rings I just got over Christmas. Haven't used them yet. I opened them, looked at them. I was like, oh, that's rubbish. Straight in the box, along with a dozen other things. Well, I say a dozen, like hundreds. But I think if you get the time, you should definitely write this book. And I think you should
yeah,
do a couple of
at the
special
moment
editions. I was just going to say
I'm
you should.
currently writing a book on mentalism. So
Okay,
once
okay,
I finish that, I might do the historical magic.
do, and it should be
Um,
leather bound. You
yeah,
can leather
that's an
bind
option,
these
I guess.
books. You leather bind them yourself. I mean, and then you can charge like work out what your hourly rate is. Be like £100 for the
Yeah.
book. I'd still buy it. I still buy it.
That's about what my books cost. It was about. On the flip side, though, this mentalism book I'm doing, I'm putting out for free. So,
Okay, is it what, an ebook
uh,
or a proper book?
well, there'll be a PDF of it for free. The thing is, I'm extensively using generative AI to help write it.
Okay.
So it's using the knowledge that I have, but putting in sort of note form and then saying turn this into
Okay,
a
you are
section of a
proofreading
chapter.
it, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I've heard horror stories where people have written stuff, or they've written stuff with AI, and it's just gone off into all sorts of directions. Um,
Yeah, it's not as simple as just write a chapter about propless mentalism. You have
yeah.
to write what propless mentalism is, give some examples of tricks, and
Are you
um,
are you a fan of?
go into a fair. You write a couple of pages and turn it into 5 pages, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Are you a fan of the 13 Steps then?
Yes,
Yes.
I do prefer Practical Mental Magic for a introductory book, though.
Okay, cool. Because I've got oh, it's over there. I've got the 13 Steps, and every now and again I go to it. But when you first open it, it's quite daunting because it's just there's so much text. You know, the 13 Steps to Mentalism. But when I watch YouTubers who review books and they say I'm going to do this trick out of the 13 steps, and you're like, oh, that's really good. And then you go to the book and you read that chapter, and it's like, okay, yeah, I can do that as well. But without them, it is called the 13 steps, isn't it? I've not made an idiot of it.
13 Steps to Mentalism,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I for a horrible
Yeah,
second there, I thought that's not what it's called.
the thing I'm not keen about with that book is it's not written in a very reader-friendly style,
Exactly.
which is part of the reason that I'm writing this other book, because it's
Cool.
just aimed at beginners to give them all of the information they need.
Awesome. Awesome. No, none
What
of
I've
the
done is,
fluff.
so I've actually used AI to decide what's going in the book as well.
Okay.
Um, I took the last like 20,000 messages or something from the Mentalism channel
Wow.
in one of the Discord servers that I'm
Yeah.
in, and asked it to tell me any recurring questions that come up, any recurring themes.
Wow.
Just got a big long list of things that constantly get asked by beginners.
Uh huh.
And then was like, okay, so now I'm going to turn that into a chapter outline
Brilliant.
um,
That's really good.
and
I mean, you're guaranteed an audience pretty much. Then it's like doing um what's it called? Oh, what's that? Oh, never mind. It's like the research. You know, when you're bringing out a product and you ask people what they
well, like
want.
market research.
Market research. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain is not working today at all. So basically, you've done market research from your armchair, really.
Yeah, I love AI. It's brilliant, but you've got to be able to use it properly.
Mm.
Otherwise, you'll get the same results as everyone else. It might be written slightly differently, but it'll sound exactly the same.
Yeah, this is it.
But this is very much written in my own style with my own knowledge, but
Cool.
the AI's just fleshed it out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now,
Makes it a lot quicker to write.
yeah, absolutely, it leaves more time to make wonderful, wonderful things.
Yeah.
You mentioned crowdfunding. Which
Yes.
is your crowdfunding platform of choice?
I've only really used Kickstarter and my own website.
Okay.
So for stuff where I want to reach a wider audience, I'll use Kickstarter because it has an inbuilt audience,
Yeah.
especially for playing cards. When I've run playing card campaigns, something like 30% of my backers found me via Kickstarter.
Yeah. There are.
It's got a big audience there already inbuilt.
I'll tell you the
Like
strange thing.
my last campaign that I did on there, it was a translation of a medieval book on cartomancy, like
Uh,
fortune telling with cards.
okay.
most of my backers just wanted the playing cards and a booklet on playing games with them. I'm okay with that. I I did that because um I got a bit sort of autistically carried away with translating this book, and it took me a few months. I was like, oh God, I should have done some work.
Why don't
I'm
you
putting out
appreciate
money.
me?
Um, better try and see if anyone else wants this book.
And how did it do in the end?
Yeah, it actually did really well because um I released a deck of cards with it to use with the book,
Right.
and everyone wanted the deck of cards. So great, that paid for me to translate the book. I'm happy with that.
That's fair. You
People
can't
are
argue
happy
with it,
with the
can you?
cards.
So, talk us through like your first Kickstarter campaign. What lessons you learned? Was it nerve wracking? Because I've thought about doing Kickstarter campaigns. I know other people have as well, and there are so many things that you just think, no, I'll just not bother.
So I've got sort of a formula that I use for doing Kickstarter campaigns, which has remained more or less the same since the beginning. And that is to have a product that you already know people are going to want.
Cool.
So you make something for yourself, you post it somewhere, and people go, "Oh, I want one of those." Good, that's it. That's enough
Yeah.
for you to justify putting it on Kickstarter to see if more people want it.
Right.
You've then got to make sure that your financing is right on it. So work out how much that thing's going to cost you to make. How much is it going to cost you to ship to the most expensive destination that you can ship it to,
Right.
which in our case in the UK would be Australia.
Okay.
So I get the shipping cost for that thing to Australia
Hmm.
and assume that everyone backing it is going to buy one of the thing and ship it to Australia.
Okay.
What's the total of those that you'd need in order to fund making it?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
So in the case of my first Kickstarter, because I already had the lever and didn't actually need the money to buy any stuff for it,
Hmm.
it was more just as a get a bunch of orders in and know how many I've got to make.
Right.
And if I ended up selling like 1,000 of the product or something, then I'd need to buy things in, get other people to do stuff. But
Yeah. But I
as it
suppose
happened, it
the beauty of that way as well, because you already had the leather, because you're not going to be asking for as much money, you're developing a following. People are going to start become aware of you, and then
well,
when you do your next campaign, they'll be alerted.
I was still charging the cost to replace the leather because I
Okay,
still need like a stock of leather for making stuff.
fair enough.
Um, but yeah, so I think I set my target goal at something like £500 for that one. 'Cause for your first Kickstarter, you're probably not going to get that many backers.
Yeah.
So if you set like some crazy high target goal, like £5,000
Mm,
for something where realistically you don't need to sell that many of them,
yeah.
people will think that's sus and they won't back it.
No, that's
So my
yeah.
first one was like £500 or something for essentially a purse because I thought all the coin pouches that you get for
Yeah.
Magic look rubbish. Like TCC had just put out one that was the same as a purse my granny used
Okay.
when I was a
I
kid,
think I
and
might have that.
yeah,
The black one
and
with the
it's like yeah, if it's for you, great. It's not for me, so I made myself one that I liked.
the main ones I use are the EDC in my pocket all the time. The
Yeah,
illusionist one, because I just really like it. It's there's I can't go into too much detail because non magic norms are watching, but it just there's so many things you can do with it. That I really
that
like
one's not
about it.
actually gimmicked, is it?
It
It's just
isn't.
a
No, it isn't gimmicks. It relies
yeah,
on manipulation and
yeah. Because that is kind
magic.
of a generic style of coin pouch
Yeah,
outside of Magic.
yeah.
I can't use that in Magic now because weird Magic rules about who owns things. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, I wouldn't be able to make one of those, even though I could go get one elsewhere.
I mean, surely you could just change it a little bit, just make so
No,
they can't.
I've got my own one that's similar. Actually, if you could hold there for a moment, I'll see if I can grab
Yep.
one. So when I put out the modern coin pouch, which was the thing I put on Kickstarter, I wanted a cheaper option for people who didn't necessarily have the money to buy a
Mm.
nice hand stitched one. So I made one that doesn't have any stitching.
Nice.
It's all held together by the press stud that holds it closed.
Okay. Does
So
that
that's like a
open
better
out
option.
like a flower, for want of a better word, or
Well, it would if there wasn't like a stud going through
the studs go
the
like?
whole
That's
middle.
really cool. That's really nice.
So that I think you could use that in the same way as that one that you've got,
It looks like you could.
possibly.
It's
But
basically the same.
yeah, but I just use it for like coins.
Yeah. It's dollar size, is it?
Yeah, it's dollar size, fits about $5 coins in. I think the ones on the website are just made of black suede, but I've made a bunch of them out of like various different leathers, just where
Nice.
I've had bits that are the right
Yeah.
size. So
Awesome.
um,
They're really cool. And suede. I mean, suede is lovely. um, with your Kickstarters, then, how do you set your? You've said how you set your targets, but do you have stretch goals along the way, or do you just keep it simple and that's what I want? Nothing, no bits to complicate things.
stretch goals, I tend to think of stuff after I've launched the Kickstarter and think, oh, I wish I'd put that on it.
Right.
So I'll put that on as a stretch goal.
Cool. What sort of things do
So
you include?
I think my first set of tarot cards was a stretch goal, if
Okay.
I remember rightly. Um,
Wow. That's quite a stretch goal. So what was the campaign for?
that was for the Cloisters playing cards.
And and
Can't remember if it was a stretch goal or if it was just add-ons, but
okay. I mean
I
that
figured
would
'cause
be
I'm getting stuff printed anyway, and I wanted some marked tarot cards, so I made
right.
myself some marked tarot cards.
Cool.
Um, and yeah, everyone else wanted them as well. I've just done my second print run of them, so
Cool. Awesome. And when you're doing your campaign, do you feel that there's a Goldilocks duration? I invented that term based on the Goldilocks zone. Is there a Goldilocks duration for a campaign? So like not too short, not too long. How long would you say is
you get most of your backers right at the beginning and right at the end.
right?
So it depends how good you are at getting the word out there that the campaign is there.
Yeah. Do you spend
Um,
time every day sort of hammering it, on all the socials and everything? Just
I did to begin with, and then the more recent ones, I've just kind of hammered it near the end, and it's not made the slightest bit of difference. So
have you ever
wasted effort.
have you ever been included in like the Kickstarter email? Where they send out the email with like they pick
Yeah,
so
I
many.
don't think I have. I did get funding from the Scottish government for the last one though, which was nice.
Wow, what was that? Wasn't for a bus, was it? You wasn't making a bus.
No, that was so that was the translation of the Minds of the Lost book.
Okay,
Because it um I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was something to do with it being useful for the academic community or something.
wow,
Because there just isn't an English translation of it.
yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. That's awesome.
and because I'm putting that in the public domain in August, like a year after the Kickstarter ran,
Right,
anyone can use that translation from that point
brilliant.
and do what they want with it.
That's awesome. The fact that any government would kickstart, would contribute to the. I mean, you're not even like a multinational corporation. You're a guy who
Yeah,
had a desire to translate a book. That's,
yeah. I literally was just like, well, I speak a bit of German. I speak a bit of medieval English. Medieval German can't be that hard. And just spent a couple of months.
Brilliant.
translating a medieval German book, learning how to speak it.
Oh man, I mean, there are people now who will be sort of staring daggers at you because they're like, trying desperately just to learn any language. Some of them just to learn English, which is their first language, and
Just
there you are learning dead
if you want to learn a
languages.
language, what's it called? There's Duolingo.
Yeah,
I started learning Klingon on Duolingo.
they
That's on
do
there.
Klingon on there. I've got the
And it's
book.
free. You don't have to pay for it.
Yeah,
So
so why
seriously,
not?
get on that.
Will you please do something for me? Next time you are doing a reenactment thing, will you please go as a medieval Klingon? Don't tell anyone. Just turn up in full Klingon medieval Klingon garb with your batleth and send us a picture. I want to see that.
Um, so somebody like I have used the batleth at a medieval reenactment.
Amazing.
It was after the public had gone home. Somebody brought a couple of batleths that they made.
Oh no, you need to do it when the public are there. Just completely confuse them.
Yeah,
There are Trekkie cosplayers who go to where you get these villages that people get paid to reenact things, and there are Trekkie cosplayers who go to these villages pretending to be Star Trek characters who have gone back in time, and they came around with their tricorders and recording their logs. I think it's hilarious, absolutely
they're
brilliant.
breaking the prime directive there.
I know, but they seem to get away with it. When you're crowdfunding, do you have like a daily or a weekly target in mind for each day or week, or do you just let it go and
I would like to say yes, but no, I just put it on there and hope for the best.
fair dues? Fair. And how do you promote your campaigns? What do you do?
Spam, spam, more spam.
Spam, 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 spam
No,
with
I
eggs,
mean,
spam with
I'll
chips.
usually like put a post about it on whatever relevant Facebook groups there are because I mean it is technically spam, but as long as you're putting it in places where people actually are likely to want to see it,
Yeah, yeah.
and responding to questions on there and stuff,
And it's
it's
not
not
it's not
so.
like, I mean, when I saw you posting about your tarot cards on the Magic group, it wasn't like every hour or even every day a different. I think you posted one message, and the fact that
Yeah,
different people commented on it throughout the course of a week or so, it kept that post near the top of the feed.
yeah.
Okay, so this is a new thing that I'm starting to do this series, which is just a closing Q&A. So we'll just get straight into it and see where this goes. What is the one magic trick or prop or move that you wish you'd created? And it could be from anywhere in the past right up to modern day.
That's a tricky one.
I
Go with
do
a
a lot.
bullet catch because that's killed a lot of people, and if I'd created it, none of those people would have died. So,
This is yeah, it's true. Okay, so I want you to imagine you have a time machine, and you can travel to any period in history. When do you go to? Whereabouts do you go? What do you do for work? And what one thing would you take with you? So first of all, when would you go?
um, so speaking realistically, I'd probably go to the 1980s and buy a load of stocks and shares in Apple.
Oh, okay,
So,
yeah. Okay, so you buy stocks in
so
Apple.
it'd be something like that, or I'd go back to some medieval period. I'm not too worried which, like,
Okay.
and anywhere from Dark Ages up to the Renaissance, I could probably pass as somebody from another place that's on a pilgrimage.
There was a plague in the 17th century. Would you avoid that one or
Yeah,
just dive straight in? I'll go there.
I would avoid the Black Death like the plague.
Badumch.
No, I just go somewhere medieval, but like take something anachronistic with me that's like not from that period, and chuck it in the rubbish pit with all the other stuff,
Right.
so that historians later on just like.
So you wouldn't mind where you went, whether it be Britain or France or
I mean, somewhere in Europe, I probably would like they. So they didn't speak modern
yeah,
English
but that doesn't
back
bother
then.
you.
So I could probably say I was from some other country and my English isn't so good and get away with it.
Yeah.
But same with French.
Was there language? I know that obviously because of different invasions and things, it was a much more sort of European type of English. But was it that different? I mean, could a modern person get by in medieval England?
Depends when. I mean, if you're trying to speak Anglo-Saxon, it's nothing really like modern
Mm,
English. But
yeah.
then
So there's no
Middle
good.
English, like if you ever read Chaucer?
I haven't. He's French, isn't he? Or was he English?
No, it's English.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's written in Middle English.
So at what point in medieval England could a modern day person get by, would you say?
Probably about the 13th or 14th century, you just about get by.
Okay, as far back as that. I,
Um,
I was thinking maybe like Henry VIII sort of time, but you're saying like way before then.
yeah, I mean you're gonna struggle, but you'd get by.
Right.
Like you could read Chaucer and you'd understand it
Hmm.
enough, like pick up what words mean based on their context and stuff.
Yeah. See, I struggle.
But then when you start getting towards the Elizabethan era, when I mean, you read Shakespeare, right?
I was just going to say, I'm an actor. I'm not a fan. I love watching Shakespeare. Watching Shakespeare, I know exactly what's going on. Reading it, I, my brain just bubbles. I don't know what it is. There's something about reading it that I don't get, and that's why I've always avoided performing it because I feel that if you don't understand what you're saying, you shouldn't be saying it. Let someone who knows what
Well,
they're doing.
that's the other beauty of going back to medieval or Renaissance England is you don't need to be able to read.
Yeah,
Most people couldn't.
that's fair enough. But also with all the modern knowledge you have, you could be an absolute genius. You know.
Realistically, I think if I was back then, I would probably be performing the cups and balls on the street while my mate goes and cuts people's purses off.
Yes. Yeah. That's what you would do for work. You'd be a magician or a con
Yeah,
man.
because you can just do that with some cups.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. And if you could take one thing with you, what would it be?
Probably my set of cups.
You know,
I didn't have to find them there.
but you would get mugged. They'd look at them and say, "Oh, they're nice. I'll have them." And then you'd be in a gutter somewhere, and covered in horse poo, and your cups and balls would be gone. There'd be people drinking out of them probably.
My cups are about 200 or 300 years old, so um,
Wow. Do you still use them?
yeah.
You don't get frightened of like battering them about or anything like
No, they're made of brass, they're solid.
that. Oh man, that's them. So
And
then,
any like antiquarians watching this are gonna hate me, but I polished them as well.
yeah, it's all about the patina.
Yeah.
When I what
No, these look good as new.
I watch these antique shows, and there are two things that bother me. One is when people go on there and say, "Yeah, I keep polishing it to keep it," and you see the valuer's face just drop. It's like, no, you.
Yeah.
The other thing that bothers me, I know this is a tangent, but when people go on there and say, they're selling like a war medal. It's been in my family for 3 generations. My granddad fought in the war. He died for this medal. I want to sell it. What's it worth? 50 quid. Don't sell it. it means more to your family than it will ever mean to anyone else. It will never have the monetary value that your family should, attach to it. That it just makes me. I want to ask the guys who do these shows, the like Antiques Roadshow type things, where people go on there and auction their stuff off, and just say, do you ever just think you just want to smack these people around the head and say, don't sell it? It's too important.
Yeah, my cups are there to be used. Well, I'm not selling them, so why not polish them?
They're there to be enjoyed. At the end of the day, as long as you're enjoying them, they're your cups. So yeah. If you were going to sell them, then I'd probably say, how did you come across them, by the way? If they're like that old,
eBay. I was just looking in the antiques section for cups and found some that look perfect.
So they're not actually designed for cups and balls. They're just antique cups.
No, they're for hunting.
Okay, so they're like goblet things, are they?
No, they're cups that stack, and they would have gone in like a leather holder thing, because they stack. You can fit a bunch of cups in it. They just look perfect for.
Fair enough.
Where I've seen images of like paintings of people doing cups and balls, they look the same. So probably the same kind of cups.
Fair enough. If it works, it works.
Yeah, they were like green when I got them.
All the patina that made them so valuable.
Yeah, like no, that's coming off.
Okay, so moving on. I have a time capsule. What one thing would you put inside my time capsule, and why? For future generations.
Getting opened
in the future, I don't know. I'm going to bury it, and then it's going to get opened by future generations at some point.
I'll probably put a note in saying how it's cursed, and whoever opens it is going to suffer bad luck and stuff.
Written in Klingon.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Very
on
good.
A wax tablet so that it's like.
Right. So, with regards to your your live action role playing / medieval reenacting thing, what advice can you give to anyone who wants to get into that?
Just do it. Like, find your local group. If you can't find your local group, message me. I could help you out. Go on a general reenactment Facebook group and ask what's around, and people will be quite happy to tell you who's in your area.
Cool.
It's great fun. You learn a lot of stuff about crafts if you're that way inclined. You can keep fit by fighting.
Getting hit over the head by Simon and his foam sword and his batleth. Your head goes rolling down the hill.
Reenactment rather than LARP, you're fighting with steel weapons.
Right.
But you're doing it in such a way that you're not injuring each other. Like, you're pulling your blows when you hit people.
Wow.
But because you're swinging around a thing that weighs, like if you've got like a two-handed axe, it's like swinging a sledgehammer.
Wow.
That uses a lot of muscles. It keeps you fit.
Did you ever watch? There was a TV show that was hosted by Christian from wrestling, and it was Fight Night, I think it was, or Night Fight, and you would have two combatants, and they were wearing armor. They were reenactors, so they turned up in their own armor, and you would have like a French medieval knight fighting like a samurai, for example, and they would go at each other and try to beat each other up. And I mean, it was they stopped it if it got a bit dangerous, but that was amazing.
Yeah, so there is full contact medieval combat, which is a thing. So I did try that at one point, and then I got an unrelated back injury and had to stop.
Right.
That one is really hard work. You have to be like really fit to do that. Like already really fit, like you play sports kind of.
Yeah. I
thing.
mean,
Like it was
just
like in the case of that TV show, they're probably MMA fighters or something.
they were reenactors, but they did it regularly. So they were
Yeah,
wearing their own armor, so they obviously knew how heavy that it was. They knew what their mobility was like, and in between rounds, they were able to make adjustments to it so they could fix it. It's a little bit like Robot Wars, but with people in armor.
yeah.
It was awesome. They should bring it back. I'm guessing that it didn't get a second series because they deemed it to be dangerous. But
Well, you can
honestly,
watch it. You can watch it live. Like if you just look up full contact medieval combat,
yeah.
there are events you can go and watch. They'll have like pitched battles with like 20 people on each side
Oh, um,
beating the hell out of
I
each
think I'm
other.
going to have to look this up
Like not
because
not pulling their blows at all, just like
I
trying
will.
to knock the other guy out.
I think I'll have a look because I mean that was I grew up watching wrestling and everything, and boxing's all right. Never been into MMA, but this thing it was awesome. It was a proper spectacle, you know. These knights in shining armor going at each other. It was fantastic. If someone does want to join their local group, do they just turn up in what they're wearing, or do they have to sort of wear anything in particular? Do they have to?
Tracksuit trousers, probably in depending what the terrain's like, either trainers or boots.
Cool, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And they don't have to.
The specific group will be able to tell you
Right.
what you need to bring or anything, but
Awesome.
generally you'd be training in your normal clothes.
Yeah. Cool.
For me, my normal clothes half the time are medieval clothes. So,
With your cups and balls pouch on your belt, you're
yeah.
freshly, highly polished, five
I,
hundred year
I
old cups.
I make all my medieval clothes to fit me, so they're like the most well-fitted clothes I own,
You wouldn't fit in then in
and
medieval
therefore the
times.
most comfortable. So I just wear them around the house.
Oh, any advice for anyone wanting to be a magician?
Yeah, do it. Um, there's nothing to stop you being a magician. Like when I was younger, I was always worried that I wasn't going to be good enough when I showed people a magic trick, or
Uh huh.
it really put me off like progressing.
Imposter syndrome.
And actually, like you don't have to be that good at magic. Just have to be entertaining.
Yeah, it's the story, isn't
Um,
it?
yeah, and if you can entertain somebody, don't worry. Like obviously, do your best. Don't show people something you haven't rehearsed or something, but don't stress so much about getting it right that you just don't do it in
Yeah.
at all in the first place. That was something that was an issue for me for a long time,
Right.
and I suspect it's an issue for other people. And the best advice I can give is just stop stressing about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
The more you perform, the easier it gets.
Yeah. Fair enough. Where would you suggest someone starts? Like obviously you've got. I'm thinking. Well, I mean, magic. There is a world of magic out there, whether it's mentalism or you do card magic, you do coin magic, sponge magic, animal magic, you know, app magic. Would you have any sort of recommendation? Or I mean, I suppose just what they're comfortable with, really.
Yeah, I would say do the type of magic that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I was mostly doing card tricks because that was what people do when they're magicians. But
Mm.
I'm rubbish at card tricks. So it's only when I was like, actually, I'm not very good at this. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
That then I was really like, okay, actually, I'm not that bad a magician. I'm just not good at cards.
This is it. This is it. I suppose with the benefit of card tricks is if you get yourself a book of self-working card tricks, you
Yeah,
don't have to stress about getting the moves right. The cards will do the work. You can focus on your presentation and telling a story.
yeah.
Um, but
But
as you
there's
say,
plenty of other self-working magic that isn't cards.
this is true. This is true.
And when you do self-working card tricks, you're expected to then progress on to doing like complicated sleight of hand and like don't get me wrong, like I can palm a card, I can full shuffle or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to present that as well as something else, anything else. I just don't care for it.
This is it. Your heart has to be in it, doesn't it? Because if your heart's
Yeah,
not in it, you're not going to practice. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to want to do it. And if it becomes a chore, then you're just not going to bother. You just this one of the things I love about coin magic is you can practice the moves in front of the TV,
yeah.
and you can sit there palming a coin while you're flicking through the channels, and as long as you can hold that coin there, you're doing all right. There was a magician who said to me, "No, I disagree. You need to be focusing on that coin. It's like no, it needs to be subconscious. My opinion is it needs to be subconscious. So do it
I
while you're
think
watching the
there's
TV.
so there's an argument for both, and I think you do need to do both. You need to pay attention to what you're doing so that you can identify if you're doing something wrong.
To start with,
But once you get past that point,
yeah,
then you get into building up the muscle memory,
yeah,
which is where you're just sitting doing it watching TV.
yeah. Or walking around Tesco's pushing a trolley. Other
Yeah,
supermarkets are available, um,
yeah.
but yeah,
I often walk around with a in classic palm
yeah, exactly,
just because it keeps the muscles there.
yeah. Advice for anyone wanting to start their own business.
Yeah, again, there's nothing stopping you. Honestly, like it sounds really daunting, but like I started it from like 60 quid's worth of leather or something, and it's kept me my bills paid for the last nearly 4 years.
Blimey.
Like you can do it. You need to be good at marketing. That's where the money comes from in
Uh huh.
business. You've got to be able to sell stuff to people, whether
Cool.
that's your services, your products,
Yeah.
and if you can't do that, someone else can. You can pay them to do it.
Yeah. Or AI. Just get AI to run run your business and make all your decisions. Advice for anyone thinking about running their first crowdfunding campaign.
First crowdfunding campaign, um, again, get stuck in and do it. Worst case scenario, it fails. Learn from it, try again.
The
It
beauty,
doesn't cost you anything to run a crowdfunding campaign.
this is it. I think the beauty of Kickstarter is that if it does fail, no one loses any money, so
Yeah,
you don't have to stress about that. Whereas there are other platforms where even if it fails, you still get the money that the people who have contributed. So then
yeah.
you've got the added stress of trying to fulfill for them without having enough money to actually fulfill for anyone. So
So that's why I've run pre-orders on my own website, for
right,
example. So with the recent reprint of the tarot cards,
uh huh,
I did that on my own site because I didn't actually need the full value of it. I had enough to buy the tarot cards. It just would be nice to not have to spend 300 odd quid up front myself
yeah,
when I know people are going to buy them.
that's
So rather than put it on Kickstarter and hope I get the full amount, I just put a pre-order up and that takes a chunk out of what I'm having to
that's,
pay.
that's cool.
So you can do that, but generally with a pre-order, people are going to want you to be established as a business
Yeah,
first, whereas on Kickstarter as a pre-order, they don't care so much, which
this
is
is it.
odd.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause it's exactly the same, just on a different. You're just paying through Kickstarter instead of direct.
Does Kickstarter take a percentage or anything?
Yes, you lose. I think it works out as about 8% to Kickstarter in
Okay,
processing fees and
right.
um, just general fees to them.
So you have to take that into
So
account when you're planning how much you want to raise.
yeah, so I think I touched on this before, but you would work out how much you need based on. So say I've got a quote to get 200 decks of cards printed and it's £1,500 or something. I can't remember what it actually costs,
Right.
but we'll say 1,500.
Okay. Wow.
Um, to get a thousand to get that much money selling a deck at £20 a deck, I would divide it by 20,
Right.
get whatever that comes to.
Uh huh.
You then got to add on the cost of posting to Australia.
Right.
So you'd add like £7 or whatever it is to post a deck of cards to Australia.
Okay.
Um, and your target goal is like £27 times however many of them you've got to sell to get the 1,500
Right.
with the postage on top, minus the 8% that Kickstarter take.
Yeah.
It's a bit tricky to explain it verbally, but
I understand.
you're
Yeah.
having to factor in all of the different things and make your goal enough that it covers all that.
Yeah.
And
It's
if that's something that's quite important if you are running a Kickstarter, is to show that you've costed everything. And if you're costing it so that you're shipping every deck to Australia,
yeah.
you've got a margin built in for errors because not every deck is going to Australia. Shipping one to the UK is costing me £3, and then that £4 difference is like there in case of problems,
Yeah.
or
It's a bit of a
if
buffer.
it's not great, I've got £4 extra. But
Yeah. No, that's cool.
if anyone wants help setting up a Kickstarter or something, I'm always happy to chat with people as well.
Awesome. I'll
Yeah,
put. We'll go through your links at the end, and I'll make sure that your links pop up. Have you got a cat?
yeah, I've got a cat
There was just
sticking
this
its butt in
thing.
my face.
It's either a cat or a snake. Okay, so just for the record, for anyone out there, I do know the difference between a cat and a snake. Thing is, it was just the tail. So right, okay. Yeah, what we'll do. I want to get. I want to get. I've got a monkey. I've got Dennis. Dennis, my ventriloquist, a monkey, and I wish if we. Oh, I can't. If I go and get him, the screen falls down. So I'll move. So, but yeah, if I'd known next time, yeah, what I'll do, I'll make sure that. Oh, bless. I'll make sure there are links throughout. And we're going to go through your links in a second. Your background, sir, behind you, your backdrop. Do you want to
Yes.
tell us a little bit? It's beautiful. It's like it's almost like honestly, my brain is so bad tonight. It's like a spatial. I'm going to say a spatial anomaly. I'll think of the word while you're talking.
I'm gonna get out of the frame so people can see it.
I
It's
go on then.
the Tarantula Nebula taken by one of NASA's
Nebula.
telescopes. I forget which one, which I've overlaid tarot cards onto
Okay.
in order to make a sort of cloth to put down when you're doing tarot readings.
So how would that work? You can come back.
Yeah.
Hey, how does it work for tarot readings? Is it like
It's
a?
just something nice to put your cards down on as
Oh,
far
okay.
as
It's not
laypeople
like
are
a map
concerned.
for a layout or anything.
Yeah, it's not for a layout or anything. It's just so you're not putting your cards on a dirty table.
So like a close-up pad for tarot reading, really.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool. Okay, no, I thought it's beautiful, and yes, nebula was the word that my brain
Yeah.
fell out of my head when I was trying to remember. But I mean, they're lovely. What made you decide to go for the nebula background for it rather than like a plain thing?
I just liked how it looked. I thought, yeah, that'd be a nice
It's really nice.
tablecloth.
Yeah.
Um, there wasn't really a lot of thought behind it, in all honesty. It was just I saw it, thought it looked nice.
It
Yeah,
does.
that'll do for what I'm making.
No, it's really. I like the fact that you've got the card designs in white as well. You haven't sort of done a border around them like a white border and then had the cards like in the traditional colours or anything. It's nice having them just as white outlines.
Yeah.
Did you? You haven't got it behind you for realsies, have you?
No, that's a
No.
background. I'm just trying to think of got
Yeah, no. It's
one
just
around the
when
corner.
you looked around behind you, I'm thinking, but that's a green screen, isn't it?
I'm just going to evict my cat from the bedroom because it's trying to eat things it shouldn't. I'm back.
That's okay. Oh,
But I
bless.
actually just had more of those cloths delivered today, so you can probably see it a bit better up. It's just going to disappear with the
Yeah, it
background.
has.
The magic disappearing act.
Amazing, amazing! It's just an arm. That should be your thing. When you do medieval reenactments, you should just do. I'm gone. That would be hilarious.
Magic.
If I went to a medieval reenactment or a live action role play thing and someone said, "Yeah, I'm a magician, watch me disappear," and they just held a blanket up in front of them. Oh. Right, okie dokie. So, do you have any links that you want to share? Either Facebook, Instagram, social medias, website, all that stuff.
Go on ECT Magic on Facebook and Instagram. I don't post very often, just like if I've got something new that's worth mentioning, so you won't get loads of spam if you follow me.
Cool.
Check out the website as well, ectmagic.com or expertsatthecrafttable.com if you can be bothered to type out something longer. I just bought the shorter URL to redirect to it for lazy people like me.
That's fair enough. I do always, well, in fact, I start typing it out, and because I've been there before, it comes up as a thing. So I'm like X. Yeah. There we go. Return. Cool. And are you on Threads, Twitter? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I've got a YouTube channel that I think has 2 videos on it. I uploaded one today.
Hey!
Which is just a tutorial for how to use generative AI to create an letterhead. But it's usually just I have an idea for a video and it'll go up.
That's cool.
At some point.
I'll include all the links then.
I'm ECT Magic on there as well, so it's nice and easy to remember.
ECT Magic. So basically, if they go to any of the social medias and things and type ECT Magic, if you're on there, you will pop up. If you don't pop up, you're not on there.
I do have a Twitter account. There's no posts on it.
It's a
I'm not really very
place.
good at social media, in all honesty. If people message me, I'll respond, but I don't tend to want to spam. So I only really post if there's something to say.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do you know what?
I will see messages when they come through, and I respond reasonably quickly.
You do, so. You do. I mean, you. Whenever I've messaged you on the Facebook, I get the we'll get back to you as soon as we can message, and then you get back. It says like within 24 hours, and you always message back within half an hour. So
I need to turn that thing off, because like you'll send a thumbs up and it will say, "Oh, thanks for messaging us."
Sorry. just loads of emojis.
And then the other thing, right? I don't know if you've got a business Facebook account, but if somebody messages you and it generates that "we'll get in contact" or whatever, even if it's just a thumbs up or something, it then uses how long it takes you to reply to it.
Really?
As a metric for like how good your account is. So you have to reply to like a thumbs up.
With a double thumbs up.
With like something, and hope they don't reply.
Oh, do you know what? I'm tempted now to start a business Facebook account and just message you just with a thumb from my business account, and then just tennis.
I've just given up caring about their metrics. All
that's no fun.
I get is my personal account sharing my business account stuff. And that seems to get around their algorithms. So
fair dues.
Pro tip. Use your own account to share your business account stuff.
There you go. Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think there is, no. Cool. Always happy to have a chat with people if there's anything that they want to talk about that has come up in this. Drop me a message.
Awesome. And it's ECT, as in Experts Craft Table.
ECT Magic, all one word.
ECT Magic. Okie dokie. Simon, thanks for coming on. Right, I'll see you later. See ya!
See you later.